Level 1, the applicant. You apply online like everyone else. There's a form on the CIA website. You fill in your name, your education, your work history. You click submit and wait. 6 months later, you get an email. They want to interview you. You fly to Virginia on your own dime. The building looks like any other government office. Fluorescent lights, bad coffee. A man in a gray suit asks you questions for 4 hours. Where did you grow up? What languages do you speak? Have you ever used drugs? Have you ever been arrested? Have you ever traveled to certain countries? The questions seem random, but they're not. They're building a profile. They're looking for patterns. They're looking for lies. You pass the interview. Then comes the polygraph. You sit in a chair with sensors strapped to your chest, your fingers, your arm. A technician asks you questions while monitoring your heart rate, your breathing, your skin conductivity. Have you ever committed a crime you weren't caught for? Have you ever betrayed a friend? Have you ever had thoughts about harming yourself or others? The machine can't actually detect lies, but you don't know that. You sweat. You stutter. You tell the truth because you're terrified of what happens if you don't. 3 weeks later, you get a letter. You've been accepted into the clandestine service trainee program. Welcome to the CIA. Level 2, the trainee. They send you to Camp Peary, Virginia. The locals call it the farm. It's 9,000 acres of woods, swamps, and training facilities surrounded by fences and armed guards. For the next 18 months, this is your home. You wake up at 5 a.m. You run 5 miles before breakfast. You sit in classrooms learning about foreign governments, terrorist organizations, and intelligence tradecraft. Tradecraft is the CIA's word for spy skills. You learn how to spot surveillance. There's a car that's been behind you for 3 turns. There's a man reading a newspaper who looked at you twice. There's a woman on a park bench who was at the coffee shop this morning. You learn to see patterns that civilians miss. You learn how to lose a tail. You duck into a department store, walk through 3 floors, exit through the loading dock, hop in a waiting car, and disappear. You learn how to pick locks, crack safes, plant bugs, and photograph documents without being detected. You practice on real equipment. The safes come from embassies. The locks come from government buildings. You learn how to recruit assets, which is their word for convincing people to betray their countries. You study psychology, manipulation, persuasion. You learn the 4 motivations: money, ideology, coercion, and ego. Everyone fits into one of these categories. Your job is to figure out which one and exploit it. You run practice operations in nearby cities: Richmond, Norfolk, Washington. Your instructors play the role of foreign intelligence officers trying to catch you. If they catch you, you fail. If you fail too many times, you're out. The washout rate is 40%. Some people crack under the pressure. Some people can't handle the deception. Some people are too moral for this work. The people who make it aren't necessarily the smartest or the strongest. They're the ones who can think on their feet. They're the ones who can lie convincingly to anyone, including themselves. They're the ones who can compartmentalize, who can do terrible things and then go home and eat dinner with their families like nothing happened. You graduate in the top 15% of your class. They give you a badge and a cover identity. You are now a CIA operations officer. Your real career is about to begin. Level 3, the case officer. Your first posting is an embassy in Eastern Europe, a former Soviet bloc country still figuring out whether it's going to be an ally or an adversary. Officially, you're a political attaché. Your name is on a diplomatic list. You have an office in the embassy. You attend diplomatic functions in uncomfortable suits, making small talk with people you're secretly evaluating as potential targets. You shake hands with local officials and remember everything they say. You write reports about economic conditions and political developments that go into classified cables back to Washington. Unofficially, you're a spy. Your real job is to recruit assets. An asset is anyone who has access to information you want. A government official who attends cabinet meetings. A military officer who knows troop deployments. A scientist working on weapons programs. A businessman who travels to places Americans can't go. A secretary who handles classified documents. Anyone with access is a potential target. You identify targets. You study their habits, their weaknesses, their vulnerabilities. Does he have money problems? Does she have a sick child who needs expensive treatment? Is he ideologically sympathetic to American values? Is she angry at her government for some personal slight? Everyone has a pressure point. Your job is to find it and press it. Your first recruitment takes 8 months. He's a mid-level bureaucrat in the foreign ministry. He has access to diplomatic cables. He has gambling debts. You approach him at a casino. You buy him drinks. You become his friend. You loan him money to cover his losses. Then you loan him more. Then more. By the time he realizes what's happening, he owes you $50,000. You don't ask him to betray his country. You ask him to share some documents. Just a few. Nothing important. Just enough to pay off his debt. He agrees. He has no choice. You now have an asset inside the foreign ministry. You file a report. Your supervisors are pleased. Level 4, the knock. Most CIA officers work under official cover. They're diplomats or military attachés or trade representatives. They have badges. They have offices in the embassy. If they get caught doing something they shouldn't, they have diplomatic immunity. They get expelled from the country. It's embarrassing, but not dangerous. Their families are safe. Their careers continue. You're offered something different. Non-official cover. Knock. Pronounced knock. It's the most dangerous job in the intelligence community. You won't have diplomatic protection. You won't have an embassy to run to. You won't have a badge or a government ID or anything connecting you to the United States government. If you get caught, you're on your own. The CIA will deny you exist. The State Department will deny you exist. The President will deny you exist. You'll be prosecuted under local laws. In some countries, that means prison. In others, it means torture. In others, it means a bullet in the back of the head and an unmarked grave. The pay is better. The mission is more important. The risks are astronomical. You say yes. They build you a legend. That's their word for a fake identity. You're now a businessman. You work for a consulting firm that doesn't actually do any consulting. It's a CIA front company with real offices, real employees, and real clients. None of them know who you really are. You travel to countries where America officially has no intelligence presence. You meet people the embassy can't meet. You recruit assets the diplomatic service could never approach. You live your cover 24 hours a day. Your neighbors think you're a management consultant. Your girlfriend thinks you travel for work. Your parents think you quit the government years ago. The only people who know the truth are your handlers back at Langley. You haven't seen them in person in 2 years. All communication goes through dead drops and encrypted messages. You are completely alone. Level 5, the paramilitary officer. They pull you out of knock work after your cover is almost blown in Beirut. A local intelligence service got suspicious. They started following you. They photographed you meeting with an asset. You spotted the surveillance and aborted, but it was close. Too close. You're not burned, but you're compromised. You can never go back to that region. They offer you a new path, the Special Activities Division, SAD. This is the CIA's paramilitary arm. These aren't spies who occasionally carry guns. These are soldiers who occasionally gather intelligence. The most elite unit within SAD is the Special Operations Group, or SOG. These are the people who go where the military can't go. They do the jobs that are too sensitive, too deniable, too illegal for official armed forces. You go through another round of training. This time it's not lockpicking and surveillance detection. It's 6 months of the most intense military training on the planet. Small unit tactics, close quarters combat, explosives and demolitions, advanced weapons training with every firearm made in the last 50 years, high altitude parachute operations, combat diving, survival, evasion, resistance, and escape. Most of your instructors are former Delta Force or SEAL Team 6, the best of the best, now working for the agency. They don't care about your recruitment skills. They care about whether you can kick down a door and clear a room without getting your team killed. Your first mission is in Afghanistan. You're part of a team hunting high-value targets, Al-Qaeda leadership, Taliban commanders, bomb makers who have killed American soldiers. You spend 3 months living in a mud compound in the mountains, eating local food, growing a beard, wearing local clothes. You work with Afghan militia fighters who may or may not be trustworthy. Some of them fought with the Mujahideen against the Soviets. Some of them fought with the Taliban before switching sides. Loyalties are fluid. Money talks. You never know who might betray you for a bigger payout from the other side. You call in drone strikes on compounds where terrorists are hiding. You watch through binoculars as Hellfire missiles turn buildings into craters. Sometimes the intelligence is good. The target is there. Bad people die. Sometimes the intelligence is wrong. The target isn't there. Other people die. Women, children, people who were just in the wrong place. You try not to think about the times it's not. You can't afford to. You have another mission tomorrow. You're awarded a medal that doesn't exist for a mission that never happened in a country where you were never officially present. Your family will never know what you did or why you sometimes wake up screaming. Level 6, the team leader. After 5 years in SAD, you're promoted to team leader. You run your own unit now. 8 operators. 4 paramilitary officers like yourself. Career CIA. 4 contractors who used to be Special Operations Forces. They make 3 times your salary, but you make the decisions. You're responsible for the mission. You're responsible for their lives. Your team is deployed to Libya during the civil war. Gaddafi is falling. The country is chaos. Militias are fighting each other in the streets. Weapons depots are being looted. Your mission is to locate and secure chemical weapons before they fall into the wrong hands. The wrong hands could be Al-Qaeda, could be ISIS, could be any of a dozen groups that would love to have mustard gas or sarin. You spend 6 weeks in Tripoli while the city burns around you. You operate at night. You sleep during the day, 2 hours at a time, in safe houses that change every 48 hours. You bribe militia commanders for information. You interrogate prisoners captured by friendly forces. You pay informants who might be lying, might be setting you up, might be working for the other side. You raid weapons depots in the middle of the night, kicking in doors, never knowing if you'll find empty rooms or armed guards. You find 3 caches of mustard gas that the official report said didn't exist. 15 tons of chemical weapons that could have killed hundreds of thousands of people. You destroy them in place because there's no safe way to transport them. You rig explosives and incinerate everything. On your last night in country, your convoy is ambushed. 1 of your men is killed, 2 are wounded. You carry one of them half a mile to the extraction point while bullets snap past your head. The helicopter arrives, you get out. The mission is classified as a success. You write letters to the families of the dead and wounded. The letters are lies. You can't tell them what really happened. You can't tell anyone. Level 7, the station chief. You've been in the field for 15 years. Your body is breaking down. Old injuries that never healed right. A shoulder that dislocates if you move it wrong from that fall in Afghanistan. Knees that ache every morning from too many parachute landings. Ringing in your ears that never goes away from too many explosions. You're 42 years old and you feel 60. The doctors tell you that you can't do field work anymore. Too many concussions, too much damage. They offer you a desk job, but not just any desk job. Chief of Station, COS. You're now the senior CIA officer in an entire country. This is one of the most powerful positions in the intelligence community. Every operation, every asset, every piece of intelligence flows through you. You manage 40 officers, case officers, reports officers, technical specialists, security personnel. You manage hundreds of local assets, agents who report to your officers, informants who provide tips, access agents who can get into places you can't. You meet with the ambassador every morning to coordinate with the diplomatic mission. You meet with local intelligence services to maintain liaison relationships. Some of them are allies. Some of them are adversaries pretending to be allies. Some of them are assets you recruited years ago who are now running their own services. The politics are exhausting. Washington wants results. The embassy wants to avoid incidents. The local government wants to know why Americans keep showing up in places they shouldn't be. You balance all of it. You approve operations that could start international incidents if they go wrong. You kill operations that could produce valuable intelligence but carry too much risk. Every decision is a gamble. Every success is classified. Every failure ends up on the front page of the New York Times. You sleep 4 hours a night. You haven't taken a vacation in 3 years. Your marriage ended during your second tour in the Middle East. Your kids are grown now. They don't really know you. They know the cover story. They know the person you pretend to be. Level 8, the Black Site Commander. They need someone to run a facility that doesn't exist. A black site. It's in a country that will deny it's there. The host government has been paid off. The local security services provide perimeter protection and ask no questions. The facility itself is unremarkable. A warehouse, a former factory, an abandoned military base. Inside there are cells. There are interrogation rooms. There are medical facilities to keep the prisoners alive. The prisoners are high-value detainees, terrorist leaders, bomb makers, financiers, couriers who know where the networks operate. They were captured in raids across a dozen countries. They were never formally arrested. They never appeared before a judge. They have no lawyers. They have no rights. They have no official existence. As far as the world knows, they vanished. Your job is to extract intelligence from them. The techniques you use are classified. Enhanced interrogation, that's the official term. Sleep deprivation, stress positions, temperature manipulation, waterboarding. Some of these techniques were legal when you started using them. Some of them were made legal retroactively by Justice Department memos. Some of them are still being debated by lawyers in Washington who have never been in a room with someone who knows where the next attack is coming from. You tell yourself it's necessary. You tell yourself the information saves lives. You tell yourself the people in those cells would kill millions of Americans if they had the chance. Some nights you believe it. Some nights you lie awake staring at the ceiling, wondering if you're still one of the good guys. You run the facility for 2 years. When you leave, they give you a commendation that will never appear in any record. The facility continues to operate. Someone else is running it now. You don't ask who. You don't want to know. Level 9, the Division Director. You're back at Langley now, headquarters, the building you first entered 25 years ago as a nervous applicant. Now you walk past the memorial wall with 139 stars for officers who died in service. Some of them were your friends. Some of them died on operations you planned. You run an entire division of the National Clandestine Service. Maybe it's the Near East Division, covering the Middle East. Maybe it's the Special Activities Center, overseeing all paramilitary operations. Maybe it's the Counterterrorism Center, hunting the people who want to kill Americans. Hundreds of officers report to you. Thousands of assets worldwide feed information into your systems. Billions of dollars in black budget funding flow through your accounts. Money that doesn't appear in any congressional report. Money that officially doesn't exist. You brief the president on covert operations. You sit in the Situation Room at the table with the Secretary of Defense and the National Security Advisor, while decisions are made that will never be acknowledged. You recommend targets for drone strikes. You authorize operations in countries where we're not officially operating. Syria, Iran, Pakistan. Countries that are technically allies. Countries that are technically enemies. Countries where the line between the two changes week to week. You sign off on activities that would be war crimes if anyone ever found out about them. You testify before congressional intelligence committees, but the real briefings happen in closed sessions with no transcripts. The senators ask questions. You give answers that are technically true but carefully incomplete. Everyone in the room knows the game. They don't want to know the details. They want plausible deniability. You give it to them. The operations continue. The bodies pile up in countries most Americans couldn't find on a map. The intelligence flows. Some of it prevents attacks. Some of it leads to more attacks. The whole thing is a machine that runs on secrets and blood, and you're one of the people who keeps it running. Level 10, the Ghost. You retire after 30 years. 30 years of secrets. 30 years of operations that never happened. 30 years of assets recruited and betrayed, and sometimes killed. 30 years of decisions that changed the course of history in ways that will never be written in any book. There's a small ceremony in a conference room at Langley. 50 people attend. Most of them you've worked with for decades. A few are officers you mentored who are now running their own divisions. The director gives a speech about your service to your country. He talks about sacrifices. He talks about dedication. He talks about the price of freedom. Your colleagues applaud. Some of them are crying. You receive a medal, the Distinguished Intelligence Cross, the highest award the CIA can give. It will sit in a box in your closet because you can't display it. You can't explain it. You can't tell anyone what you did to earn it. You sign more non-disclosure agreements. You're reminded that everything you did, everything you saw, everything you know is classified for the rest of your life. You move to a house in Virginia, far from the city. You don't have many friends. The people you worked with are scattered around the world or dead. The people you knew before the agency are strangers now. You can't tell them where you've been for 30 years. You can't explain the scars. You can't explain why you wake up at 3 a.m. and walk the perimeter of your property looking for threats that aren't there. Your pension is generous. Your health care is excellent. The government takes care of its own, at least financially. But you're alone with your memories. The assets you recruited who were caught and executed. The operations that went wrong. The people you interrogated. The people you killed. None of it officially happened. None of it will ever be acknowledged. You are a ghost. You did things that your country needed done. Things that would horrify most citizens if they knew. You carry that weight alone. You'll carry it until you die. And when you die, there will be a star on a wall at Langley. No name, just a star. One more anonymous sacrifice in a war that never ends. Somewhere, in a college dorm room or a suburban apartment or a military barracks, a young person is filling out an application on the CIA website. They're dreaming of adventure. They're dreaming of serving their country. They're dreaming of being part of something bigger than themselves. They're imagining Jason Bourne and James Bond and all the fictional spies who make this life look glamorous. They have no idea what they're really signing up for. They don't know about the loneliness, the moral compromises, the things they'll see that they can never unsee. They don't know that this job will hollow them out and fill them back up with secrets. But they'll learn. They always do. The cycle begins again.